Hello YouTube, it's Carlos the Rook, and I'm bringing you round 3 from the North Atlanta Chess Club January Championship. And in this round I'm playing Isabel. She's rated 1759 and I'm 1781. Once again, I got the black pieces. So she started off with e4. I normally play Sicilian, but like I said earlier, I wanted to switch up and play something different. So I went K-Roll Khan. c6, d4, d5. Now I'm waiting to see which variation she plays. E captures, C captures d5. So it's the same variation that Sidha played in round 1. So she goes c4, just like Sidha did. And this is the pan-off attack. And after reviewing my round 1 game, I knew bishop to f5 was an inaccuracy. And the correct way was to go e6 and play this towards kind of like a Queen's Gambit decline. So I went knight f6 first, knight c3, and instead of bishop f5 here is e6. So e6, knight f3, knight c6 here. This is all book. And the engine wants c5, but she played bishop e2. And I go bishop e7. She castles. And here it wants me to castle. But I went with b6 because I didn't want to allow c5 after what Sidha did to me. So I didn't want c5 at no cost. So bishop f4 was her next move. And I capture here because I know at some point I'm supposed to capture on c4. Bishop captures c4. And once again, the engine wants me to castle, but I'm being extremely conservative. I play a6, and this gives white an advantage. And here it wants her to play d5. But she plays rook c1. Now I go bishop b7 because the knight's not protected. So I heard of the saying, loose pieces drop off. I just want to protect my knight, then I want to castle. And now she goes back to e2 with the bishop, so she's losing tempo, giving me extra moves. And now I castle my king, and I feel like I'm safe. And I got an isolated pawn to target on d4. So she go queen d2. And I go queen d7. My idea is to put a rook behind my queen. Rook on f to d1. Rook on f to d8. And now she go a3. And here I go b5. Now what I'm looking at is I want to go knight to a5 to b3 with the idea of forking the queen and rook. So she correctly goes b4, stopping that. Excuse me. And here I go rook on a to c8. Putting the rook on the c file. She goes queen b2. I really don't understand what the idea of queen b2 was. Maybe she wants d5. So I go knight d5, stopping any d5 breaks. And here she goes knight e5, hitting the queen. Now I thought about taking knight captures e5. Then if pawn captures, I can't get my bishop to f6. I want a bishop on f6 to put pressure down this dark diagonal. Because my bishop's not really doing anything here. So that's why I didn't capture. And the agent should say she should have captured here. Knight captures d5, queen captures, queen to b1 is what Stockfish wanted. So I just went queen e8. And my idea is, let's see what she's going to do. Just to keep the tension. And I'm hitting that bishop on f4. So she takes my knight. I take back with the rook. She brings her rook on the f3, hitting her bishop to f3, hitting my rook. And I fall back to d8. Now she captures the knight. I capture with the bishop. She captures with her bishop, and I capture with my rook. So we just exchanged a lot of pieces. So I feel like the position is simplified and it's concrete at the same time. She still has this isolated queen pawn. So what I need to do is gang up on this pawn. And if I can win this pawn, then I got a 4-on-3 on the king side. So that's my strategy at this point. She goes rook c2. My idea is to double up rooks on the c file. And I go queen d7. Now she swing over, protecting the pawn. And I go queen d5. I'm not allowing d5 at any cost. And she go h3, giving her king some luft. I follow that example. Now she go rook e2. Her idea is to bring the rook to e5, hitting the queen. So I go rook c4, hitting that pawn. And now she protects it again. And now I go queen e4, hitting the bishop. The bishop retreats to e3. And now I'll swing up rook d5. And what I want to do is get this rook over here and threaten a checkmate on g2. But the bishop is in my way. So she go rook e2. And yes, as you can see the arrow, she's threatened. Bishop captures h6, hitting the queen. And Stockfish is saying ignore the threat and just play bishop f6. And then it's saying the best move is king h2, rook d6. Now let's see what happens if I would have did that and she takes bishop h6. What's the play? It's saying bishop captures d4. Rook captures e4. Bishop captures b2. Rook captures d5. E captures d5. Rook e8 check. King h7. Bishop d2. Then rook d4. And it has this completely winning for black. And bishop e1 is the move it's saying here. Oh yeah, bishop captures a3. So yeah, so that's what would have happened. Wow. So I guess bishop f6 was the move and she couldn't have taken. That's a lot to have to see. But I went queen g6, falling back. She go rook c1. And I had a long think here, and I decided to go queen d3. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go queen d3 or rook captures. But the thing with the line I was looking at was rook captures, queen captures, queen here maybe, and then it's just rook here. Then where's the queen going? Stockfish is saying back to f5. And then the queen's getting in here. And this falls. So I didn't like that line. So I went queen d3. And she moves the rook to d2, hitting the queen. So I capture her rook, check. She takes with the queen, and now I retreat to e4. She comes back with a check. I go king h7. And here Stockfish saying she should go queen c2. But she takes the pawn on a6. And whoa. The engine just jumped off the evaluation bar. It's saying that's losing. How is that losing? Bishop G5? I want Bishop D6. Bishop, okay, let's see. Bishop G5. It's saying the best move is Rook E2. Bishop F4. King F1. Queen B1 check. Rook E1. Queen D3 check. King G1. Bishop captures. Rook captures. Queen D1 check. King H2. And Queen captures D4. And so this is winning for black. 4-on-3 on the king side. 2-on-1 on the queen side for white. Excuse me. It has black at negative 2.91, so black is completely winning here. But I really don't see how or why. How does black make progress here? And it's saying the best move for white is G4. Why would white go G4? Why weaken the king side structure? I would think something like Rook G3 or Rook F3 for white. I'm really not sure. So I played Bishop D6 and then just let go of the advantage. And she played Rook D1. And here Stockfish wants E5, E5, Queen C6, E captures D4, Bishop to D2, Queen E2. Why would he go Bishop D2? Oh, because there's 2 on here, so the bishop can't take. Hold on, let's go back to E5. So white can't take because the rook is hanging. So E5, white can't take because the rook is hanging. So the move is Queen C6, pinning the queen to the rook. E captures. The bishop can't take. So if the bishop takes the pawn, rook takes the bishop. Nah, hold on. Bishop take. I was saying bishop E5. And not, I was thinking rook takes. This is what I was thinking. Rook takes. Queen takes. Rook takes. Rook takes. But that's not the move. Hold on. It's saying bishop E5. If the bishop take, that's check and you lose the queen. Let me show that. Let me show that. The bishop take is check. You move out of check, you lose your queen. So the bishop can't take. So now we know the bishop can't take. You don't want to sack the queen because the bishop still, you're still going to lose the bishop. So it's just curtains. Yeah, the bishop, you're just losing the bishop. If we're going to take with the bishop, and if rook take, queen take, and we up a rook. So yeah, the bishop can't take. So bishop d2 is the only move. Either d2 or c1. Then queen here. Then you still, well, you're losing your rook. Let's say the rook go here. Queen captures d2. Oh yeah, that ain't gonna work. Because the queen can capture, you capture with a check, and you up a bishop. So yeah, that won't work. Alright. So I went bishop f4 instead of e5. I just missed that whole series. And she captured. I captured back. And she went queen b6, protecting her pawn. I went queen e4. She goes queen c6. Because my idea, once again, was to bring the rook here and threaten the mate on g2. So she's pinning my queen. So I went queen e2, hitting the rook. She goes queen c1 to protect it. And I go rook f5, threatening to come in on f2. She brings the queen to d2 to protect it. And here I missed rook capture f2. She can capture, I capture, d5, e captures d5, rook captures d5, rook a2. And it's even, but it simplifies the position. So she can like take that. I take this. And what are you going to do? You drop here. And what is Stockfish saying here? It's fluctuating between f5 and king g6 and g5. But I know I'm going to put a rook behind this pawn. Then I got 3-on-2 marching. Yeah, I don't know if I like that. Leaving this pawn over here. Because my king can't really go anywhere. But let's look back at it. Rook captures f2. Queen captures a2. Rook captures e2. d5. E captures. Rook captures. It gotta be rook a2. What else is there? Yeah, you have to go down that line. It's a drawn position. So it would have been a drawn position either way if I would have went down that line or not. So I went queen e4, fade back to queen. She go queen d3. So she's trying to trade queens because she's up a pawn on the queen side. Now though, queen f4, threatening f2 again. She goes rook d2 to protect. And here I go g6. She go queen e3. She's trying to trade the queens. I fade the queen back to d6. And now she goes queen c3. I go back up to f4. She comes back to e3. I go back to d6. Now she go rook c2, threatening to bring the rook down lower. And so I go rook d5, hitting the pawn. She go queen f3, threatening the f7 pawn. So I step over king g7. And now the queen goes back to c3. And I take the pawn on d4. So the position is completely drawn now. She go rook d2, because her whole idea is the rook is pinned. The queen is pinning the rook to the king. But I had seen that, and I seen that I had e5, and that unpins the rook. And if f4, I just take the rook. That's easy. So she goes rook captures d4. I take it back with the queen. Hold on, let's see if Stockfish recommended I take it back with the queen or the pawn. Actually, Stockfish says taking back with the pawn is minusculely better. Minusculely. Negative 0.07. So there's not a big difference. Very small advantage if I took back with the pawn. And I took back with the queen because I wanted her to take and my pawn to get advanced. And she can't push here because I take there and we queen together. But I queen with a check. And I'm going to have a pawn this way. So she go queen b3. And here I went g5, trying to advance my pawns up the board. And she goes back to queen f3. And here we got into a time scramble and I had to stop recording the moves. But I ended up getting this f pawn all the way down here. My pawns pushed all the way down the board. Her queen was back here and coming in behind, and she did like 15 to 16 different checks, and it ended up being a draw by repetition. So it was a good game. Stopped the losing streak. I got a draw. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Tell all your friends and family about it, and let's grow the channel. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Goodbye.